So good evening, everyone. I believe everyone can recognize Navya Nair, who was All India ranked 6 in CLAT 2023 December attempt, you can say, in fact. So here she is with all of you to share her experience. How did she manage to secure a rank of AIR 6? And then she'll share the tips and tricks to be taken so that you can also convert your dream into a reality. So first of all, the first question which I would like to ask Navya is, what was your preparation strategy for CLAT?
So my preparation strategy, which may not be feasible for everyone, was that I started 2 years in advance. So that is what I think is mostly recommended. I started in 11th standard itself when I joined. So I got 1.5 years of head start over the others who would not have started early. Then I did all the material that I had received. I attended all the classes and I made my notes. And after I've attended all the classes, I would revise the notes that I have made. And I would go over the books that I have received, and I would go over all the GK material, and especially I would go over my mistakes. And from the first year itself, I had made a plan of what I need to cover. I knew what material I have in my hands, which I had already received all the material when I joined coaching. So I knew what material I had. I knew how much of work I had to do. So that's how I planned from the very first day that this much material I should finish in 1 year and then next in 6 months. And I would suggest, what I did not do, but I would suggest other people to do, is that for the last 6 months, don't keep any extra material. You think that, oh, I will solve this whole big book of CLAT papers in the last 6 months. I don't think anyone will be able to do that, because in the last 6 months, you need to do the most relevant material. So maybe finish your preparation of the materials that you have 6 months before the exam. And then that is basically what I would have liked to do. So that is what strategy I followed.
Okay. So one very important thing which she said, that is, you should start from day one. Don't think that you can keep things for pending and then you can do it in the future. No, you have to start from day one. And second important aspect which she covered is revision. Revision is the key. So Navya, what was your strategy for revision? आप क्या करते थे basically revision के लिए?
So to revise, I did not revise everything all the time. So we know we have mocks every week. So you get an idea of what you're weak at. So something that you're good at and you're consistently getting it correct. I don't think I had any need to revise that. I don't need to do something again and again. It would be a waste of time and we have limited amount of time. So what I'm getting wrong, even if I'm getting it wrong once, I'll go back to square one. I'll see my notes, see where I went wrong, and I'll try to understand the basics. And then I'm building up, then look at the question. Where did that go wrong? First, you look at the basics. Is my understanding enough? Then you look at the question, what you did wrong. Then from the question, you go to how I can do it wrong, do it correct next time. So that's how I would revise.
Okay. All right. So anyone who would like to put up any question, abhi jo main pooch raha tha, regarding the preparation strategy, anyone? Let's move on to the next question, which I feel that since you said that you started and you had a head start of 1.5 years over others, those who did not start early, right? So basically, when you started your preparation in 11th, you might not have felt that there must be some kind of turning point wherein you feel that, हाँ, ये वो point है जहाँ पर मुझे realize करना है, how to realize my actual potential, how do I overcome my weakness and all. So what was your turning point? When did you realize that and how did you work on it?
So my turning point would have been September, which would have been just 3 months before the exam. Actually, like my personal experience from which I'm saying is that in mid-September, I had a very important surgery. So something big just came up 3 months before the exam. And so that could happen to any of you also. Some big event may come up before the exam, which you cannot avoid. So for almost 2 weeks, I was not able to study because I was in recovery. Then, of course, it's not feasible to study at that time. That was when I realized that now just 3 months left. I can't go to school also. I'm in recovery. After this, I don't think I can go to school after this also because CLAT is so close. So that was my turning point. I know 3 months may not be great for everyone, but after that, I stopped going to school. I was at home. I had given my leave application and everything, and I was just studying 10 hours a day. So I think that is what was my turning point. And what I did is that I made my schedule that if I'm staying at home, I'm not going to school. That means I have some extra time on my hands. the 6 hours which would have been wasted, not wasted, but for CLAT studies, I would not have been able to do at school. Now I can use that for my CLAT studies. So I would suggest that this turning point should come in everyone's preparation journey at least 3 to 4 months before the exam, that you're staying at home, you're giving your all, because that is what other students are doing. So that is, we need to be a little bit ahead of them in this competition.
Like you shared experience that you had some major surgery to go with, right? Then it is very, very, very difficult to maintain that kind of focus. So how did you deal with it?
So in case anyone is having any medical issues at that time, which is a very crucial time, I would not suggest that they should try to give their all to their studies, because I feel that when you are sick, even if it is just fever, if you're sick for you have high fever, and then the next day you feel that no, I have to keep studying, I think it's better to take just 2-3 days of a break if you're feeling very unwell. It's not that where you're going to use this excuse ki, oh, I had 99.5% 0.5 fever, so now I should take rest. That's not like that. Like if you have something very important, you're feeling seriously unwell, if you don't give yourself rest at that time, you're going to be sick for quite a few days. So I took almost 1 week completely off my studies, but I think that motivated me to study more. That 1 week I have not studied, everyone else has been studying, so I would say that motivated me to push myself more after that. So that's what I would suggest to them, especially if they have some illness which they have to deal with.
Okay, that is great. So a great motivation, in fact. Now, one question which majority of the students would be facing, I mean, the difficulty level which they feel right now is to maintain a balance between their boards preparation and the CLAT preparation. Or it becomes a nightmare for many of the students. And presently we have many students who are actually doing the same. And since you were able to cope up with that, achieving All India Rank 6, I believe that you must be the best person to talk to how to maintain a balance between the board preparation and the CLAT preparation.
So in 12th, what I basically did was, even I realized that CLAT is my main goal. If CUET would have been my main goal, which at that time it still is not, it was also not. If it would have been, then of course CLAT would have taken a backhand. But we are all in this coaching because CLAT is our main goal. So basically what I was doing is that till September, I kept up till end of August, basically, I kept up with my boards work. So I knew I had projects coming up. I did my entire research for all my projects. And if you have science by chance, then you will have to do all your practicals, maintain your practical files, do all your practice by till August. After September, I stopped going to school, which means I was not in touch with my school at all. I did not even know where my NCERT books are after September. I only knew that I have to do CLAT in 3 months. So that's how I would suggest. Why I would suggest this strategy is because as soon as CLAT was over, December 19th itself, I had started studying for boards again. Not that I was fully studying, I was completing my projects because as you would know, Jan, you guys will also be having your practicals. So you will need to complete your projects. If you're in science, you'll have to complete your practical files. You'll have to do all of that. And then February, we were starting our boards. Now, this thing is that since August, you have been studied. Till August, you have studied for boards. So you have to actually study quite well. It's not that you're going to say that in the last month, I'll be able to study for boards. That's not the case. You're going to study till August for boards. And then after Jan, after your practicals are over, you will again start studying for boards. And in my case, I was able to do that. Definitely, it was not easy. It was not easy like taking out my NCERT books after like 3 months of not seeing them and jumping into them and trying to memorize everything. I'm a humanities student, so I had to memorize everything that was written in the book. So it was not easy, but then that is the strategy we have to do when we are ensuring that we want to do our best in CLAT. So that is what I would recommend to others. And it's not easy, but it is doable. I was able to do it. I'll get my board marks very soon. So I'm not going to fail at least. And I got my seat. So I'm sure you guys can achieve it if you work hard.
Right. So this is very important. Many of the students believe that no, it won't be possible for them to cover up the entire syllabus, let's say after December, since they are left with only 3 months. But then we have an example, we have a live example wherein a student is able to complete the entire syllabus after the CLAT exam as well. So please believe this, students, please believe this. Yes, you can. बस आप में वो confidence होना चाहिए, आप में वो determination होना चाहिए. I believe you can actually handle both of them simultaneously. That is your CLAT preparation and the boards preparation. Any one of you who would like to put up question on this? How did you manage to study all the subjects daily? Yes, Navya.
How did I manage to study all the subjects daily? So that is for CLAT or for school, they are asking. For
So
CLAT, I used to.
Vidhi, can you be very specific? As in, if you are asking the question with for CLAT, okay, maintaining a balance between all the sections for CLAT.
Okay, so basically, you have when you come back from school, it's not going to be later than, let's say, 3 or 4, not later than that. So you have a lot of time till 10 o'clock, when you should sleep by 10, 11, 12 at least. So you have a good 6 hours in your hands. And even if you say, no, I'm going to have lunch, I'm going to have dinner, I'm going to bathe, I'm going to go do anything else, you still have 4 hours at least. So in these 4 hours, you have your English, you have your logical, you have your legal, you have your GK. You have to divide. What are you weakest at? I thought my weakness would be logical, so I would do logical every day. GK you have to do every day, maths you have to do every day. These 3 things you have to do every day. I'm not saying give each of them an hour. That is not possible. Give each of them. You're not good at logical, give it 45 minutes. GK give an hour. Maths you're okay at, you're able to do it, but maths we still need practice. Give it 15 to 30 minutes. And then English and legal you alternate based on that 4 hours you give. And in my personal routine till August, I was giving just 30 minutes a day for my homework, because we would have submissions, and then in case I was having a test, just I would do 30 minutes more. So 1 hour only for schoolwork, nothing more than that.
Okay, so one important thing, realize the difference, the attitude you people carry. She said that once you come back from the school and it would be not later than 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., still you have good 6 hours with you. Look at the attitude, you have good 6 hours. And people say that मेरे पास तो time ही नहीं बचता, कैसे करूं manage? So you have to realize that time hai, you have to take out the time, you have to take out the productivity from the remaining time, and actually you can handle all the subjects. That's well said, Navya. We have another question. The question is, how much did you score in the mocks which you appeared for 5-6 months prior to the actual CLAT exam?
5-6 months. So 5-6 months before, actually, my marks were quite good 5-6 months before. I was getting even from 100 up to even 125 I've gotten once, but that was not the case in the mocks which I took just a month before CLAT. Just a month before CLAT, from 120, from 113, my marks nosedived right to a 95. So you can imagine the stress I was feeling, that I was getting 125, now I'm getting 95. Where did my 30 marks go? But that was not the case. It was that we have to be prepared for any kind of paper. And we know that CLAT and AILET both are going to twist the paper in some way. It's not going to be the exact same paper which is coming next time. So your marks might go up and down, but what is most important is that you see your percentile. It's not that you were 99 percentile and now you're 80. That is more worrying than your marks fluctuating.
So, Acha, you were already in the benchmark of 90 plus score when we talk about the mocks 5 to 6 months prior to that. Once you started giving the mocks, let's talk about the initial 5 to 6 mocks, then moving on further 10 mocks, and then, final stage. So let's discuss that out.
So I started from 50, higher 50s. I think that's very usual for everyone here. They'll start from 40 to 50, and that would be actually think about how much better off you are than someone who has never given a mock also, who is just sitting on before CLAT. They'll get 40, 50, and you will be at least getting 80 in the final. Even if you're thinking that, oh, I'm still getting 80, if someone who has not had any preparation, they'll get 40. So you're 40 marks ahead of them at least right now. Then from 40s, I started seeing that my GK score is very low. I'm getting only 6 marks. Because I just started out. Then I started studying for GK mock. From that, it helped my marks go to 70s. Then I started to do focus on English and logical. Then it went to 80s. Then slowly it went to 90s. Finally, I was able to cross the 100 mark. And as I told you again, my marks from after 100 came back to 90, but my percentile had not dropped like that. So that's why, even though I was quite worried, as any of you would be if your marks suddenly drop, I realized that it might be a difficult paper. So that's how my marks progressed.
Okay, so if we talk about the overall marks, you have already given the progression you were taking. What about the individual scores in each and every subject? This is the concern of the student. Average marks in each subject, और आपने उसको कैसे cope up किया?
I'm not sure, but of course we know that 25 plus 23, 25 is good for English. GK, it depends on the paper, but I'm sure good marks. And legal, we know 36, 36. So everyone is good at legal. Everyone, no one comes up and say, oh, I'm having a lot of difficulty in legal. So that means everyone is getting 33 above. So 36 is what we should aim for. Logical also 23 above, and maths 10 plus used to be my aim. Um, so how I used to do it is, English was never my problem section. English I was always able to get, even if it was a bad day, 20 above. So that you might also have one section like that, that this is not your problem section. GK was also not that much of a problem. I was getting in the average range. It was not that it's very high that I know all the questions. I'm getting 35 on 35. No, but it was 27 plus. Then I had logical. Logical was my weak section. So sometimes out of 30, I have also got definitely I'll tell 6 marks in logical section, 7 marks in logical section. And I'll tell you, in the final CLAT, I got 28 marks. So that is just the perseverance that this section is my weak point. I identified it. I kept working towards it. Otherwise, from 6 marks to 28 marks is not possible. And it was not 6 marks at the starting of my mock journey. It was 6 marks even till the middle of my mock journey. Legal, it is easy for everyone, but we still need to work. If someone is getting 33 and saying that's good, there are thousands of people getting 36 and 37. So 36, 37 is what we need to aim for. And maths, what what all the teachers keep saying is that you cannot leave maths. You cannot leave maths. That is completely true. No matter what you do, maths is 15 marks. You're still going to have to try to attempt it. I got only 9 final marks, 9 final marks in maths, but still that was good compared to others, because the math section was little more difficult, and 9 out of 15. So 9 to 11 out of 15 you should aim for. So that I would say were the marks I was aiming for.
Okay, so one subject which is becomes a nightmare for everyone, which I mean, most of the students come across, like you said, you were pretty good with all sections, but CR was one section wherein actually you have to work hard a lot. Strategy क्या थी? मैं तो
So
बोलते बोलते थक जाता हूँ students को. I would like to hear it from you now.
yes, sir. You have seen 6 marks, 7 marks. I think that is some of the worst marks you would have seen in CR. So, and from me saying that I came to 28. So how did I do that? Basically, please listen to your teachers. Even if I know I'm coming and saying it, but I'm saying exactly what they have taught me. So sir actually had told me that when you're going to look at your mocks, when you're going to do any passage of CR, what you have to do is you have to read through it. You have to give your answers. Of course, you have to do it as fast as possible. Not that you're going to try to do it in 1 minute. You have to do it in less than 5 minutes, because otherwise it's not feasible in the exam. Then after you've done your 5 minutes of you've solved it, you look at the answers. From those answers, you go and check. You see what is right and what is wrong. From that right and wrong, you focus on what is wrong. Where did you go wrong? So sometimes it's a misunderstanding. You misread. Sometimes you do not understand the concept behind it. So that is what you have to analyze. Did I misread? That means you have to be more careful when reading the passage. You have to be more careful when reading the question. You forgot to read the not in big letters which was written there. That happens to everyone. Or it's possible that they told you that some um, type of reasoning you have to use. You have to use analytical reasoning in this area. So that's the concept that you didn't understand. So you have to go back to that, try to work on that. As I had said, you do the base, then you do the question, and then you see how you can do it right next time. So that's what I had done.
So when we had a discussion, Abhiya, regarding the same, when you said that you were not able to score in CR and what can you do? So we had a pretty good discussion over the same thing. आप मुझे ये बताओ कि when we suggested you कि ठीक है, you have to go back to the mocks, reattempt it, see where are you going wrong. Tell me how many mocks did you work on? जो मैंने आपको कहा था 8 to 10 mocks अगर आप करोगे तो I believe that from 11th mock onwards you will become confident in that. Did that work?
Yes, sir. So I did 3 mocks per day. Look through the CR passages of 3 mocks. That is 3 mocks, so quite a few CR passages in a day, which means that quite a lot. It wasn't taking that much time, but so 3 mocks a day. That means I did that for at least a week. So 21 mocks I would have looked through. So from the first mock to the 7th mock itself, I was noticing that from 2 to 3 per passage, I was getting a 3 to 4, which is also a big difference between 2 and 4. And what I did is that this is not a mock that I was attempting in real time. So I tried to answer all the questions. There was not a question that I left that, oh, this is too unsure, I will not attempt it. But this is for our own practice. So I decided I will not leave any question at all. I'll definitely answer all of them. And by the end, in some passages, I was getting 5 also, and I was getting 4 marks. So that was definitely a big confidence boost also, and a jump in marks also.
Okay. So, what role did the newspaper and the editorials play for you in the CLAT exam?
Very big roles, very big. Because you would see that GK this time, everyone was like, oh, this was out of the blue. I don't know where it came from. Sure, I was also not expecting it. All of us were thinking that EWS issue will come, Ukraine, Russia will come. Things like this did not come. But what did come was everything that was in the newspaper.
Right.
Now, what a lot of people do is that they look at the first page, they look at the second page, and then they'll just flip through the rest. But I didn't think that strategy is that good, because it's in the newspaper for a reason, because it is quite important. So I looked at I would read everything other than maybe the regional page. I would not look at that much. Like I did Indian Express. I would recommend that to anyone else also, Indian Express or Hindu, though I found Hindu a little tedious for myself, for me. But Hindu is also great practice. Passages do come from the Hindu and Indian Express. So I did Indian Express, and everything that was in the paper came in the Indian Express. So if you were reading the paper thoroughly, which definitely I did not read it as thoroughly as I should have, because even I have left out so many questions in GK, and I did not get full on full. But if you were reading the paper thoroughly every day, you would have been able to attempt it, and that is what paper was the best source for me.
Okay. And do the editorials also help
Yes,
a student for English and CR section?
definitely, because the editorials are like the most important section. They are the types of passages which are going to come in your paper. So why would you not read them? A tip that my teachers had given me is that when you're reading the editorial, you try to attempt it like a CR passage. Like, what is the main point? What are they arguing for? What are the points they have used? You break down the passage into those points, and you'll be able to analyze any other CR passage that you're going to do.
Okay. So one other question. What was your preparation strategy for the GK section? How did you mug up the affairs which were related to your particular current year? And how were you able to retain those points? That is the most important point. What happens usually with the students is they go through the points, they try to retain it, but after 2 months again they forget it. And then again they come to the same things and again they learn it. So होता क्या है, timely revision नहीं करते, इसलिए बहुत बार वो भूल भी जाते हैं. So what was your preparation strategy for GK? What sources did you go for? है ना, ये आप प्लीज शेयर करें.
So definitely I did not revise GK at first. At first, I would think that I have done my monthly news, I have done my weekly news. Why should I do it again? I have read through it, I have highlighted it, I have saved it, I've done everything. So why do I need to do it again? I was of the same mindset, but then I was not able to score marks in GK. So I tell you my sources: the monthly news, weekly news, newspaper. I did not see any TV channels, but I would recommend that, because it's not just reading, then you're hearing it also. So I think that would definitely help you to um, it would definitely help you to memorize it, and definitely use GK mantra very well. Definitely follow it. And what else would I have done? I actually thought that for some important topics, like you will notice in within few months, that there are some topics which are completely recurring. They're coming again and again in the news. So that means they are definitely important. We are not saying that they're definitely coming in CLAT, but they are very important for us. So I would look them up on Drishti IAS also, just because they go in depth. You can go even more in depth. Of course, GK Mantra tells us a lot of the background, but we have to go in depth. So we're going to do a little bit from Drishti IAS also. And I did not do revision for the longest of time. So what I started doing after that is for the most important topics. And for me, most important topics weren't just 5. For me, most important topics filled 2 books. So for those important topics, I would write notes. And then I would go through my notes, like the recurring topics. Now, some students were saying that 7 passages, so 7 important topics I do. It's not going to be like that. So for me, there were 2 thick books that I filled with my notes. So about at least 200 important topics I would have thought are important, and they definitely helped me, because I knew all the passages. I was able to attempt questions from all the passages. There was not a single passage I was like, what is this? I don't even know what they're talking about. So I would suggest that make notes. It is very tedious. It is very time consuming, but notes will help you.
So while you actually take out the topics on which you made the notes, like you said that you have more than 200 topics when you were finished, you finished off all the notes preparation, right? So was it the passages which appeared in the mocks, you took an idea from those topics and then you prepared for it?
So I took ideas from everything. So because we have so many sources in GK, we look at what is coming again and again in the newspaper. So obviously that is important. What is coming twice or thrice in the mocks, because mocks do not they are not going to copy the GK so much because they want us to give more practice. But what is coming again and again in the mocks? Then what do we see on the TV most of the time? And then what has come in the monthly in GK Mantra? Has it come twice? Has it come thrice? That means it's a very, very important topic. They're reinstating in our mind. So those are the types of topics I would do. And then of course there were like the academic topics that I felt that yes, these are important. I thought EWS issue is quite important. And even we have to think slightly out of the box also, like FTX issue had also come. So I had made notes on that, and I had made notes on everything that ISRO has done. All the things I had taken notes. So that would be very helpful for you also.
Okay, great. Any question anyone would like to put up? Regarding anything for GK or any other subjects, or else I'll proceed with my question. Okay, by the time the students type in the questions, the next question is, which is again everyone's issue, that is, how do you analyze the mocks? How did you overcome your weakness? And how did you fortify your strength? So आप कैसे एनालाइज करते थे मॉक, कैसे मतलब राइट तरीका क्या है एनालाइज करने का, वो बताइए.
So I think this is also what most students will do, is that they will not analyze mocks because they have given already a mock in 2 hours. So why would they be? They'll be like, why do we need to give time to analyzing the mocks? We already know that all logical is so difficult. Maths I'm not able to do, but that's also not the case. We need to give time to analyze mocks. It's told to us for a reason. So the English section, for example, which I said I was good at, there will still be some questions specifically that I'll not be able to do. Like vocab was not that easy for me. Like I would sometimes be like, these two options are so similar, and always choose the wrong option. So then I understood from my mock analysis, which is look at every passage, what is wrong. Out of what is wrong, first you see, is it a silly mistake? Then you do it. Basically, you do the silly mistakes. You look at that, which means lack of concentration. You need to concentrate more. Is it a mistake in a specific topic I'm getting wrong again and again? Like for me in logical section, it was how to strengthen or weaken an argument. I used to always get wrong, which means I have to not only concentrate more on the passage, I have to practice these type of questions more. So that's how I would say, look at the questions you're doing wrong, try to understand why you're doing them wrong. Do you need to work on your vocab more? Is that the problem? Do you need to work on specific questions more? Is that the problem? Is there a particular topic which is troubling you? And then go to your teachers and ask them for guidance. How can you work more on this topic? Can they give you extra material to work on this topic? Because just try to use the maximum resources that you can in the limited time that we have. That is how I would analyze my mocks.
Okay, so CLAT is basically all about reading, because all the sections we talk about is nothing but related to reading. You have to understand, comprehend it well, and then process the information, and then finally give the answers. So there is a question, how to increase the speed while reading the passages, right? And how would you increase the accuracy as well while maintaining the same kind of speed?
So my personal experience is that I never had problems with reading. From the first time itself, I was able to attempt the entire paper because I started reading at a very young age, and I love reading. I love novels. So I still am reading books, still doing that only in my free time. So for someone who is so prone to reading, they love it, they read fast, they have a fast reading, they will not have such a problem. But I know a lot of students do have this problem. So advice that I followed, because I'm used to reading fiction. Fiction is not going to come in the logical reasoning section. What is going to come is a newspaper article. So again, I would go back to the editorial. So Indian Express editorials, they're quite big. It's not a 5-minute ordeal. It's not like the type of editorials, that type of passages which will come in your paper. So let's say don't give it 5 minutes, give it maybe 10 minutes, give it 12 minutes, but don't give it more than that. Try to finish it off in 10 minutes. So that's how I would try to increase my reading speed, and especially for passages which were tedious for me. Like maybe there's a passage which is using lots of numbers, which is making it hard for you to comprehend. It's taking more time. It's a passage on AI, which I do not know about as much. It's a passage on, like in AILET, how it had come on speed racing. I didn't know much about it, but that does not mean I'm not going to read it, and I'm not going to read it fast. So that is what, try to seek out passages and articles about things you are not as comfortable with, and try to read them fast. That is how you can increase your reading speed.
So look, that is very important point. Everyone listen to her. What she said is that you have to come out of your comfort zone, something which you're already comfortable with. Obviously, your reading speed will be very good. But then once you come across a topic which you're not comfortable with, your reading speed automatically goes down. What is important is that you have to make comfortable with it over a period of time. We don't say that आपको हाथों हाथ बहुत ज़्यादा speed बढ़ानी है, but धीरे धीरे, because you get to read on that kind of topics which you're not comfortable with. After some time, because you have started reading those topics, you will become comfortable eventually. So the point is read, right? Okay. So another question here, which the students are asking, I sometimes lose the concentration while reading the passages. So how to bring back the focus on that?
A tip that my mother had given to me is that 2 hours is a long time, and you're sitting, you're not moving at all. You're just looking down and you're not doing anything else. Maybe with your hands are moving, not much, which means is that she believes, and I don't know how true it is, but I'm sure there's some validity to it. Your circulation is going to slow down. You're going to get into a lull. What she used to tell me is that after every 2 sections, it's not that you're taking a break. Just stretch your hands like you do in boards. Your hands will cramp up. You're going to stretch your hands, you stretch it, rotate your hands, look up, close your eyes for just 2 seconds, rotate your hands and just stretch a little bit. And I think that would stop you from losing your concentration. And she says it will also improve your circulation. It will take more blood to your brain. So of course, how can that not be good?
Okay, great. That is something new which I have come across as well. So I would definitely ask my students to follow once they lose out concentration while reading. Another question, what was your mindset when you attempted mocks? क्या आप एक ऑलरेडी प्री फ्रेम ऑफ माइंड से जाते हो कि मुझे ये अटेम्प्ट करना है, या फिर यू यूज्ड टू स्ट्रेटेजाइज व्हेन यू एक्चुअली सॉ द पेपर एट दैट पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम एंड देन यू अटेम्प्टेड? सो व्हाट वाज योर माइंडसेट?
Sir, so my basic strategy was that it's a mock. I need to do my best. And basically, I need to attempt this much at least. I know I cannot have less than 100. If you have less than 100 attempts, you're not going to get more than 90. So it's not possible itself. So I was always attempting 120, 130. In a very difficult paper, it would be 110, 115. But it's not possible to attempt less than that. You will just miss out on your marks. So I knew I had to attempt this much. Then it went according to the paper. Do I feel that when I look at it, I feel English section is very short. English section, I'll be able to do fast, which means I have to reduce my time. I'm not going to take 20, 25 minutes. I'm going to take 17 minutes if it's short passages. Then I see that legal section is very, very long. It's going to take me time. I won't be able to do it in 35 minutes. So of course you have to go through the paper, just flip over it. Not saying that you read everything and you see everything. No, just flip through it. Recipe, you have to do that. Whatever page is not printed. What if it's one of those cases? You cannot waste your time like that. So we need to go over everything once. So just look through it in that time. Is it looking to you that one section is very long? And then you just make adjustments in your mind. Everyone would have in their mind the time that they should give everything. Like English, I should give about 20 minutes. GK, 5 minutes only, it is done. So like that, you just make adjustments based on the section.
Okay. So one question which I feel that is not right, but then again, the students have put up this question, कि by which month your syllabus was complete? Look, पहले तो मैं ये बोल देता हूँ syllabus कुछ नहीं होता, complete कुछ नहीं होता, but still, okay, Navya, answer it.
Sir, syllabus, my preparation, that is basically that I would say topics are covered, was completed with the coaching itself. I was not going before my coaching classes. I was not going behind them. I was going with them. And you will see that no, they are not going to be like, अच्छा December में है, हम November में खत्म करेंगे. That is not that they will never do. They are giving you good amount of time for revision. So just go with their pace. So that is what I did. So I'm not completely sure, but at least 4 months before, I think we had completed the syllabus, and
Right.
we had time to revise. So go with their pace. They are never going to just abandon you on the last moment that okay, now our syllabus is over. No, just go with their pace. It is manageable also, and you'll get time for revision also.
Okay. So there's another question regarding the mock strategy. What was your order of doing the sections, and with which section did you start and why?
So I think this is different. Even if you ask your teachers, every teacher will have a different answer for you. So I'll tell you what works best for me, but it might not be what works best for you. This is why we have to do a lot of mocks to figure out what works best for us.
Very
So
good.
for me, I always started with English because I have tried sometimes. I know English is first that thing. So people say don't you start with it because it's the first. For me, I started with English because I've said I found it easy. Even if I'm not getting great marks in it, in my brain, it is that I'm good at English, which means that I have a confidence in it. I'll be able to attempt. Even if it's difficult, I'll be like, maine kar to diya. And I'll be able to do it in less amount of time because my reading speed was, it was good. So I was able to do it in 20 minutes at least, which means that now I have confidence that I've finished it jaldi, I've done what I'm good at, and I have time on my hands also. So I would recommend you to something like that. Now, what my teachers used to tell me, of course, other things other people would tell me. Some would tell me do GK first because you get it out of the way. Some would tell me no, do GK, don't do it first. It will reduce your confidence. So I will always follow that. I'm not going to do GK sabse pehle. I'm going to do GK as my break section. That is when my brain is tired of reading. That is when I'm going to do my GK. So after English, we know English and CR are like siblings, if not twins. So I would always, if you are very good at it, you're like, I'm great at CR, I understand it. I don't need a break from all my reading comprehension. I don't think there'll be a lot of students like this, but definitely I would always separate them. So after English, I would do legal because I like legal. And though, yes, of course, you have to do a lot of reading in legal, you have some idea of what they are saying. We have already studied it. You have the basis. And legal doesn't involve the same kind of reasoning as English or CR. So I would do legal. After that, I would take my break section, which is GK, and GK is not that much reading, it is just bubbling, if anything. So then I would do my break section GK, which you should do in 3 to 5 minutes. Don't take more than that. And then you do logical because after my break section, then I used to attempt it. Now, if I had attempted, in my personal case, attempted logical first, I might have been very disheartened that I'll lose marks. This was a difficult section. I won't be able to do it. And then I would do math. So personally, I know some people who do math sabse pehle, they feel it gives them a boost. But personally, I would always feel that if I do maths anywhere ahead in this formula, I will always feel that I have more time. I did maths last because I knew there was no more time. After these, let's say 17 minutes, I have to give away the paper. I don't have any more time in my hands. So that would force me to do my maths calculation faster and work on it faster. So that's what I would do. Best section, then legal, which is for my break of my mind, then GK to just get refreshed again, then my logical, and I would always do maths last.
Okay, so that is very important to realize that all the three reading exhausting subjects, I mean, legal, English, and CR cannot be taken up together. This is what the general idea is. So you need to give a break to yourself in the reading section, so you can put up GK or maths as per your convenience in between, and accordingly you can decide on the orders. Look, there is no specific order. Everything depends on your comfort level. Everything depends on your forte. So accordingly, decide which section to start with and which one to end with. Right? Okay. There is one question, though I still remember that your total marks in CLAT was 109.75. I do remember it because when you called up, I was very happy to, listen to your marks. But still, the students are asking the section-wise marks. You remember it?
No, sir, not totally, but I remember, I just remember two sections mark. 27 around, 28, I think, had gotten GK. Not sure. I think legal, I was expecting full, but I got around 38, 39, 38. English, I don't totally remember, but maths, I got 9, and CR, I had got 28. So that I was
28.
happy about.
Okay, right. So यहाँ पर ये लिखा था कि आपने रियल टाइम एग्जाम में किस सेक्शन को कितना टाइम दिया था? How much time did you allot in every section?
One thing I will tell them, which is not about this question, but I'll tell you, is that a lot of my friends, I was going in with my friends only to the exam center, as you guys will also. They were so stressed that, oh my God, 5 minutes, 10 minutes left for the paper. My God, we are dying. But I didn't have that attitude, which is very unlike me. If you would have seen me in board, I was the one who was behaving exactly like them. But I think what you have to think of CLAT is, if you don't think of it this way, I think it's going to reduce your performance. What you're going to do is you're going to think that this is just another mock. Like all my other mocks, I'm going to do my very best. But if you think that it is the end or be all of your life, this is the one exam, make or break, then you're not going to be able to do as well. Because so maybe just a little bit lie to yourself that this is a mock. I have to do it like a mock. I'm going to do my best like any other mock. And maybe that will reduce your stress. And of course, when you do the when I did the sample papers that consortium had given us, I had gotten good marks. So I went with the attitude that this will be an easy paper. I will attempt 120 I will attempt 130, 135. Of course, I did not in the actual CLAT, but I went in with that attitude. And I think that is the attitude which actually helped me, that this is another mock and the samples are so easy. This one will also be easy. So if you go in with that attitude, you will get a better score. You will get better marks. So I think it's about the attitude also that you go in with.
All right, great. How did you work on your vocabulary?
Vocab is definitely a difficult thing. So I'll tell. So you must have heard of vocabulary.com. It is a very important site. And if you go to that, it has a lot of lists and quizzes that you can do. I didn't do that. So when you think of CLAT, you're going to get a lot of difficult words. Maybe even in the passage, it is important to understand each and every word written in the passage so that you understand the passage itself. So I took a dictionary and I read through the dictionary, all the words, and I put in the words that I didn't know into vocabulary.com. And vocabulary.com already knows the meanings of those words. So you put in the words into that, you make a list, and I would just revise it every day. I would do 30 minutes of vocabulary revision in the last 3 months. And I had from then covered A to Z. And of course, now I have forgotten everything that I had learned of vocabulary, but at that time I knew from A to Z.
Okay. So was it something like when you go through the editorials or passages you come across a word, let's say wherein you're not comfortable with, you don't have any idea about the word. So is it a necessity to know the actual meaning of the word, or even if you get close to the meaning of the word, the real connotation behind the word, that is more than enough for comprehension?
So I think it's like in CLAT even in the sample paper that they gave, there were some such tricky questions. Like I knew what the word meant. Like I knew what it meant. I could understand what it means in a sentence. I could understand how to use it. But when it came in that question with 4 meanings, that what does this word mean? I got it wrong because it's close. So I would say if you know like easy words, like because, you know what it means, you don't need to define it. But if it's a very difficult word, like misogyny, let's say, that's hatred or discrimination against women, it could come as anger towards women, if for example, or if it gives misandry, like that. If it gives like that, you need to know what it actually means. Like you need to have the crux. You cannot have just a basic idea. Like if this is the crux and we have this basic idea, that is not enough. We need to know exactly what it means. So we don't need to memorize the definition.
Right. Okay. There is one question. How can I prepare if I have started my preparation now? You have good 7 months to go with, but still I would like to have it from Navya. Okay. You answer this question.
So 7 months is a good amount of time. You're going to have little less time than those who started a year ago, of course. But that doesn't. You have a head start over everyone who starts even tomorrow. So what you're going to do is you're going to finish your the material that you're being provided with before at least 3 months before the exam, and in the last 3 months, you're going to work quite hard, of course, in these 4 months to finish all that material because you need to catch up. So of course, there's some catching up to do, so you're going to work a little bit harder. But in those 3 months, after that, you're going to do your normal revision, and normal revision is also going to be a lot of work. See, so you're just going to start from today itself. We can't sit and think that, oh, I'm so behind. You have to start from today and catch up. So and all your teachers know how much you have to do. Of course, I wouldn't know how much you have covered. You know how much you have covered. You can ask your teachers when you have to do what. Make a schedule for yourself. Start working on that. So just start working from today and you'll catch up.
Great. What is the importance of math? You need to elaborate it. I mean, we need a detailed explanation on this. What is the importance of math, and what what would you recommend the students, even if they have a phobia for maths, how to overcome it? Actually, they need to do it or not. Please make them realize the importance of math.
So I'm a humanities student and I did not take maths in 11th and 12th. So I also hate maths. I don't like that subject at all. I'm very happy I'm done with it. Like after CLAT, I was celebrating that I don't have to touch maths again in my life. Of course, that might not be true, but hopefully it is. So I have the same phobia. I was also, when I joined my coaching, my first question was, how much maths is needed? If it's too much, then I might not do CLAT. But the answer was that not that much, just start working. So yes, we have all done 10th level maths. Even if you have done basic or advanced in 10th, there's not much difference. You're going to be able to do CLAT maths. But CLAT maths is not the hard trigonometry that we all struggle with in 10th. It might come, but it's not likely. It's the data understanding. Basically, it's that. So what we need to do is we need to just practice every day. So attend all your maths classes. I know people who used to skip the maths classes either because they are very good at maths and they feel that they don't need it, or because they're too bad at maths and they feel I'm not going to use it and I'm not going to use it anyways. Both are incorrect. You have to still attend your classes. You have to make your notes, even if it's not notes in maths. I used to write down all the formulas. So some formulas for all of you will know. You won't need to use them, but there'll be like on area and volume. There were some formulas I didn't remember from 10th standard, so I needed to memorize them again. So that's what you need to do. So, and in maths also, there were some topics I was not good at, like ratio proportion. I was not as good at, so I knew I had to focus on that, which means I started doing topic tests on that specific topic. In the last 3 months, last 6 months, I started focusing on what I'm not good at. I went back to the mocks that I had done a year ago, and I saw the passages which I had not understood in maths, and I attempted them again until I knew every single concept. So that's what you're going to have to do. When you get your mocks, you look back at them, keep practicing every day. Even if it's 10 minutes of math practice, you need it. See the sections that you're not good at. Are you good at ratio proportions? If you're not good, you need to work on them. That's how I would recommend that you do, and that's how I did it.
Okay, great. There's a student who's asking a question that for a class 11 student going for school and coaching, how to manage all this, doing the handouts, daily revising vocab, school homework, then tuitions, how would you cope up with it?
It's easy. It's not that much. मतलब लगता है when you state it out on this list, it's going to look like a lot. You wake up, you go to school, you come home, you need a break after that. School is quite tiring, and in Jaipur, Kitto, it's much more tiring. Then you're going to have your lunch. Personally, I would like to bathe after school. You'll come back so sweaty. Then you'll read your newspaper. Most people say that take 30 minutes to read your newspaper, but I would take an hour. I would go through every single thing that the newspaper would say, and I would try to actually absorb it. So I would take an hour for that. Then that was for me that I have reached at 4 o'clock now. Then 4 to like, let's say 4:30, I would take a break. And in that break, it's not that I'm not doing anything. I would just try to refresh, try to think about what I read in the newspaper, try to think about the previous newspaper, what it had said related to these articles, things like that. Then 4:30 to like about 6:30, I would do some subjects of studies, which is so I had my classes on the weekend. That is not going to be the case for everyone. So you're going to have to work around it. I just tell you my schedule, and you can see how much I studied on a normal school day, and then you can work it into your schedule. For to like 6:30, I would do some class subject. 6:30 to 7:30, again a break. After 2 hours of studies, you'll do your exercise also in this, and you'll do just refresh again. Then 7:30 to about 9, you again study. This is another class subject. And then 9 to 9 to like 9:30, you again you do your dinner, you get ready for bed, and then 9:30 to 10:30, you do any schoolwork, and 30 minutes extra of your class studies, and then you just go to sleep. That's what I would do. And you can incorporate it into your schedule. You have your coaching, let's say you're going to your coaching, that is your class studies. You're going to do revision also when you get home, but you're still doing your studies on that day. And then your homework is not that much. I personally, I would just do it in 30 minutes. So you can also definitely do it in 30 minutes. You'll be able to manage. And your school studies, 11th, you have to do it. 11th, you'll do it. But personally, I didn't study that much in 11th. When they announced the exam, that is when I took out my books. They said, "Oh, tomorrow you have your finals." That in 1 month you have your finals. That was when I took out my books. 12th also, I told you how I did it. So school is important, but you have to focus on CLAT. You're in 11th, which means next year you'll be giving it. So you need to start working on it. That's all.
Right. So what is she trying to say is that don't compromise on the school part, but then you need to prioritize that CLAT is important for you. Accordingly, decide how many hours you have to devote for CLAT. GK, even if you take out 4 hours in a day, whatever time it is, maybe 2 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours in the evening, or late night 2 hours, it is on you. But then take out 4 hours effectively so that you can balance out in all the sections of CLAT. Apart from that, take out 2 hours for either for your coaching or maybe for your school exam, school homework and all, and you revise something on your own. So that is more than enough. So 6 hours of studies, including the CLAT and board examinations, yeah, 11 studies, apart from the school hours. This is what you have to take out. All right. Okay. So if anyone would like to put up, how did you memorize dates and years in GK? Constant revision. Anyways, yes, Navya.
So notes, write it again and again. It's not easy for anyone. It's not, but you have to do it. What can you do? If it's going to come, if it's an important date, you have to know it. Like even if you're doing history or even if you're doing pol science, I had both the subjects, which means 3 books in history, I had to memorize everything. So that compared to the 2 books of GK was history was definitely more difficult to revise than GK. But yes, you just have to keep reading it. You have to keep writing it. What my parents would tell me is that if you read it, if you write it, and if you say it, the saying means you're not only saying, you're also hearing what you're saying. So if you use all your senses together, you'll be able to memorize it faster. So when you're writing, just read it out loud. You're seeing it, you're reading it, and you're writing it, you're reading it, and you're hearing and speaking it. Use all your senses, cut down on the time, do everything together.
Great. Okay. So Navya, I believe that we have covered almost all the questions and the questions which were there in the mind of the students. You gave up very practical solutions to all of them, and I believe that they would be able to, they would be able to implement them, whatever you suggested, and hopefully this session would be very, very fruitful for them as well. Sometimes there are some things that demotivate you. What you did?
So
This is the question. Yeah.
I would tell you my biggest demotivation would have been that, like I said, I was getting good marks in like about 6-7 months before the exam. I was getting 100 above each time, and then suddenly my marks fell to like 90s. And my friends who were getting lower marks than me, and this will be a problem for everyone at some point. They were getting lower marks, they started getting higher marks. So and it's a competitive exam, and that is the example in front of you who is doing better than you. Even if they are friends, they are still doing better than you, and that's the competition. So of course you will feel bad. You'll feel like, oh, for so many months I was doing better and now I'm doing worse. What is going on? But that that I think would have that actually motivated me, that I got 95, she got 99, now I have to do more. How can I get from 105 if I get 95 and she's been on in the 90s? That means I have to do better. So I took that as a motivation. I think you have to just twist your demotivation into your motivations and keep working. That's all that you can do.
Lovely answer. So just twist your demotivation to motivation and you can cope up with it. Very good. How did you prepare before 1 week of exam? So
1 week. Let me think. So 1 week before was AILET. So I had given that and I thought it had not gone that well because
let me tell all the students that you secured AIR 38 in AILET as well, and your score was 74.5 in that. That is what I remember, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So for me, I was just happy that one exam is over. I have gotten my, actually, I knew CLAT was the main thing. No one is preparing for AILET. We are doing AILET for for not just preparation, but also just in case. NLU Delhi is just one. We are going to look at the 23 and not the one. So what we are going to, after AILET had happened, I took just that Sunday off. And from Monday again, it has started just, I'm doing CLAT again. So I did my mocks. I did for about a month before CLAT, I had been doing one mock every day. One mock every day. But during that CLAT time, I knew that if I did one mock every day, it might have been just too tiring. So what I decided to do is I'm not going to do a mock every day because I might just get too tired before the exam, and that's not what we want. So I was doing mostly I was doing my GK revision and my maths of my formulas and my GK revision. That's mostly what I did, but I also did at least 2 mocks in those 7 days. The 6 days that I had, I did 2 mocks, and I did my everything. Mostly what I did is just rewatch like videos of GK by Drishti IAS, or I went on their sites, I read again, I did my notes again. That's what I did mostly, and that's what I would suggest you do. Last minute revision, just get everything into your brain possible.
Okay, so we have time for the last minute revision, students, so that we can work out in the last league, right? Abhi, how to work on English as it is your strong section.
English. So what teachers have recommended to me is that you try to read more diverse books. Now, I had tried this. First, I don't follow everything I say. I'll tell you what I did. So I tried this. I downloaded the Arundhati Roy's books, and I was not at all able to finish it. It was so tiring for me that I decided I'm not going to be able to do this. If you are able to do it, I would highly suggest it. If you read more books, you'll increase your reading speed. If you read books on tedious topics, you'll increase your reading speed. But it is not possible for everyone. And I can say that because it was not possible for me. I was not able to do it. So what I did instead is what I told you. I did newspaper articles of things that are not interesting to me. So again, I didn't go back to my fiction. For 2 years, I did not read. I read 3 fiction books, but in 2 years, that is not usual for me. Like I'm a type of person who would read about 3 books in 1 week. So for me, in 2 years, reading 3 books was a huge drawback. And like I really decided that 2 years just flat. So now I'm just going to do my newspaper articles. So it was newspaper article reading every day for me. And if you are lucky enough that you are able to read certain kind of books which are tedious for you, then that is great. But otherwise, you need to step out of your comfort zone in some way. So I would suggest articles. Again, look at your weak points. For me, it was vocabulary. I went to vocabulary.com. And I, of course, in the mocks also, if you don't know something, circle it, come back to it, Google it. And it's not just what a lot of students do. They'll Google it and they'll be like, pata chal gaya. That's never going to work. What I would do is, if this is the paper, I circle this here, I would write on the side what the meaning was. So I would suggest that to you.
Chalo, great. So basically, you need to be a very forced reader. In fact, if you're not getting something which is out of your comfort area, you'll have to force yourself to read it. That's the only way to improve your reading skills. Because CLAT वाले आपसे कभी आके ये नहीं बोलेंगे बेटा आप इसमें comfortable हो वो पेपर में दे देता हूँ. So you have to be very, very efficient in reading all the things. Chalo, okay, Navya, it was a nice and lovely interaction with you. And you took up all the questions in such a manner wherein you are able to strategize, and you can give the tips to the students, and probably they will learn a lot from this session. Thank you so much for being on board.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.